Hello again, welcome to the hotspot. It's another day, the D-Day. Christmas is here for Manchester United or people who love the beautiful game in Manchester. It's the day you've all been waiting for. The FA Cup final is here, and guess what? We'll be watching it along together. We will be watching the FA Cup final with you from wherever you are. Just set your notification, and exactly 16:30 hours we'll be live with a watch along here on the hotspot. Better subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification button because you do need to enjoy these finals. Cup finals are never watched in silos. You do want to enjoy them watching together with your people. But before we get to that time, and I will be back 30 minutes to kick off, that is 17 hours, I'm going to just give you some breaking news. Breaking news coming through from Manchester United is that guess what? Guess what is happening at Manchester United? The Glazers have made a decision. A decision has been made concerning the ownership of this club, Manchester United. And guess what? This decision has got good. I think, first of all, it's a good thing that a decision, according to reports, imminent reports coming through from the club, it's good that a decision is almost being reached. It has almost finally been made. That's a good thing. I think you do want to give a round of applause to the Glazers finally for making a decision after prolonging this process for a long time and frustrating everyone concerned with Manchester United. The other good news is that I think should start with the good news that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, this man is the man who has been considered according to reports, and these reports, like I said, are close reports from Manchester United. They are imminent reports. Remember, there have been two heavy bids that have been tabled by two parties. That is, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is an Englishman, and the Sheikh himself, the Sheikh all the way from Qatar, that is Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad. Now, according to what's coming through, the Sheikh bin Hamad has obviously been frustrated, and we know this. He has obviously been frustrated by Manchester United. His last bid came, it was a take it or leave it. It came, I think, about mid-May, about the 20th of May or thereabout, but he did not get a response, and he was frustrated. It was clear that the Glazers did not want to sell to him, probably because of the nature of his bid, because his bid meant that he wanted to immediately take over full control of the club. But according to what we are getting, that Jim Ratcliffe is the man that the Glazers have decided to work with, according to what's coming through from that side. They have decided to work with Jim Ratcliffe, saying that they are happy with his bid because it does not require them to immediately surrender the club. It buys them a bit of time. According to the reports coming through, according to the new deal that they have agreed in principle to, 6 Glazers will stay and have a minority stake in the club, and they will be phased out in a process. In about 2 or 3 years, they will be phased out, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe could have full control of the club. But when he comes in, he will immediately take over the majority of the voting rights, over 50% shares of the club, meaning he's the majority controller of the club, but of course change a few things around. Now, is that good news for you as a United supporter? If that will be confirmed, and probably, of course, again, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, on a day when you've got the biggest cup final coming up for Manchester United, probably the most important game for Manchester United this season coming up, you get a feeling, was this the right time for such news to be coming out? And I'm telling you, it's almost 80% true that Jim Ratcliffe, and I think if you've been following this bidding for Manchester United, it's clear that these men, the Glazers, were not exactly willing to sell to a Qatari billionaire who would change things around. And in a bit, we are going to be talking about what Man United would miss, the impact, the implications of the Glazers' decision to hand their club over to Ratcliffe and not the Qatari businessman, multi-billionaire, the sheikh there, all the way from Qatar. Well, subscribe to the channel and drop into the comment section and give me your opinion about this Manchester United situation and what you think about it United, first of all, do you want it to finally be done, so that United head into the transfer? And again, while speaking to the press just last week, the United coach, Erik ten Hag, seemed also frustrated with the situation. He wanted it to be over and done so that they concentrate on the football. I mean, as a coach, as an employee, you cannot be concentrating on your game when you're not sure of who your boss is in the next year or two or season. And football is a seasonal game. It's not an immediate game. It's not an event. I mean, you want to be clear that this is the boss, and you're entering a crucial period for Ten Hag and the entire Manchester United staff. I mean, the transfer period is so important. It's so important, and how it's handled. This is a time when Ten Hag has got to be working well with the owners, because they are the ones to call the final shots on who to spend on, whether to spend the money, how much money is available. So the uncertainty certainly takes away a lot from Manchester United and the entire staff. So you think a decision needs to be have been made like yesterday, but up to now, they haven't made a final decision, but like I said, it's all more than 80% true. I think from my sources, of course, close sources, it is almost 80% true that Jim Ratcliffe will be the favored man. The fact is, whereas the club is listed on the stock, these Glazers, own the B shares, so they still have the majority stake in the club. Of course, the stock and all that talk, I won't get into that. I think it's not ours to understand. It's not a layman's talk. But the bottom line is, the Glazers are finally agreeing to a deal with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but his deal is one that favors them a bit. They will stay still. And for most of Manchester United supporters, you don't want to hear anything to do with the Glazers. You want them completely out. But 6 of them will be staying at the club. Now, what are the implications? What does this mean? If few weeks from now, and I'm sure it's going to happen after the FA Cup final, things I believe are going to be happening so fast at United, and we will get a clear confirmation of who the next owners of the club are. But if Manchester United, the Glazers, have chosen to hand over the club to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, what would the implications be? Of course, the obvious implications would be that, of course, there is a new ownership coming in, and there are new decisions and new investments are obviously going to be made. But how big and how impactful are those investments going to be? The truth is, if you've got these days in football, I mean, when the Glazers took over Man United in 2005 for less than £800 million, I think besides Abramovich, who had just taken over Chelsea and bring in billions in the club, I think United were miles ahead of most of the other clubs except Chelsea. But from Arsenal, who are struggling with repaying back the debt and building a stadium, and Sir Alex Ferguson, the economist, playing his economy, their wage bills so short and regulated and all. Look at Man City, was still, just coming up. Man City was nothing. It was nothing. It was just another noisy neighbors in blue to Manchester United. But when these investors from the oil-rich nations, and I'm talking the Saudis and the Russians like Abramovich, come in with their oil billions. When they came in and bought some of these clubs, were given stakes in some of these major clubs, they actually made right investments, and they narrowed the gap. Now, for United, they were still under the ownership of, and I've always said this, that English and American owners of football entities actually look at these entities a lot more as their main businesses. Even if they are rich, but they look at them as businesses, proper businesses, where they invest in and expect to make money, make profits. I think you've seen that with the Kroenke family at Arsenal. That was a big issue Arsenal had over the years, and Arsenal fans were always complaining about how stingy these men were, how economical they were. That's why they stuck to Arsene Wenger for a long time. Then you look at Manchester United, the same thing now. These English and American investors look at these clubs as their money sources, top money sources. When you read about them and their investments and stuff, these clubs are actually some of their major investments. Yet, when it comes to these oil-rich men like Roman Abramovich, when he was still owning Chelsea, like these Sheikh Mansurs of this world, now the new owners of Newcastle United, you feel it's not really for them about money. I think they have got their billions and they don't care whether United makes profits or not. For them, they have the money to keep investing because they do love, football. They do want to promote their other businesses through the clubs and all. And if it weren't for the financial fair play, actually, which I think was a smart thing for football to come up with, for UEFA to come up with, I think these oil-rich men would have killed the game. They could have made football unplayable. They could have clearly, like most people say, literally made, I think, trophies bought by money. That he who has money would buy the trophies because they have the money. You would see a Sheikh Mansour would have the money to spend on signing, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Neymar, and all in one club, all the best players in the world. They do have that money. Whether the club makes profits or not, they do have the money to invest in that football. That's how, for me, I look at it. So, if in this day and age, and whereas there is the financial fair play that is trying to regulate that and avoid it, I think the fact is teams like Manchester City and now Newcastle in a few years to come, there are still ways they can get around the financial fair play. You see, up to now, Manchester City are struggling with regulations and rules, saying they bypass financial fair play rules to still be able to spend on all these big squads they have. I mean, practically, I think logically, how does Manchester City, a club that doesn't, I think, probably have half of the funds that Manchester United has, be able to spend to meet their wage bill? I think they've got the biggest wage bill probably in world football or in European football. So it shows that there is a way they bypass. Now, these are the teams Manchester United are trying to compete with. This is the team they're competing with. Newcastle is coming back. They are now still in a rebuilding phase. They will not be a Manchester City probably the next season or two. But clearly you can see they brought in a manager who is going to set a structure, who is good at developing players and structures, and then they will later on start buying in and bringing the best coaches in the world. So start competing for trophies. Now, if Man United are still in this situation, having owners who are undecided on spending, who are a bit stingy, they are still in the past, stuck in the past. I feel by the time they wake up, the rest of the teams, other teams could have gone miles and miles ahead of them, and catching up would be a problem. So for me, going back to the discussion, talking about what Manchester United lose by not giving the chance to this man, giving the club over to Ratcliffe, and keeping the Glazers around for about a couple of years. Yet they are totally unwanted by Manchester United supporters. For me, I feel they lose. They lose out more. I think this guy does not need the money coming through United. I don't really think it is about, for him, it's about direct returns on investment and making money and profits from the club. I think it was about probably the whole Qatar and Saudi Arabia interest in taking over football, but also them advertising their other businesses through football, because of course of the huge following that United has. For him, it was never but also the prestige of owning a club like Manchester United and also owning the biggest club in the UK. For me, I think it's a loss. I think United lose out more. I wouldn't be so excited if I were a United fan. I wouldn't be so excited about Ratcliffe and his deal. I don't think a lot might change. Well, he will change things around, because when a new boss comes in, certainly they will change things around. Do I feel he will change a lot at the club? Perhaps, but not to the level that will compete steadily with Manchester City, with Newcastle in a few years to come, and perhaps with Chelsea, probably. Well, even Chelsea has got an American owner, but you can clearly see that Todd's strategies, he's a spender. If he spent, or should I say wasted, £600 million in the first transfer window, probably he was excited, but it shows you he's a spender. He is coming to this to spend, and that's how you're going to manage the Premier League in a few seasons to come. You've got to have owners who are willing to spend money, who are willing to make decisions quick, who know what they want to achieve, who do not dilly-dally. Do I think the Englishman Ratcliffe would be that? Perhaps not. But on the flip side, the UK, the English football could be winning. The non-United supporters, but English football at large, could be feeling, we don't want to give away the biggest club in the UK, or one of the biggest clubs in the UK, to Qatari owners. A club like Manchester United being owned by Qatari owners in the UK, politically, it looks ugly on the UK, to be honest. It looks a bit ugly politically. So you probably get a feeling there is a deliberate effort from the UK to ensure that the ownership of arguably their biggest club, stays within the country. And that's why the Glazers, act unprofessionally by receiving bids from, a billionaire from Qatar, and they don't even respond to the bid. So for me, I feel it's a whole collective. But the latest coming through, at least where we are now, and we'll be following this story, but it's a bit of breaking news, is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the lucky man. This is the man the Glazers have chosen to work with in a deal that will see 6 of them stay in the club for at least the next 2 years as they are gradually being phased out for him to take full control of the club. Are you happy about that? Are you excited? Drop your comment in the comment section. But most importantly, guys, please do subscribe and share on the link, but also do set on those notifications because we are coming back. Later on, we'll be coming back at exactly 16:30. We'll be here again for the watch along of the party, of the big football party. The biggest game for Manchester United is very important one for Pep Guardiola, perhaps more important if they are going to become only the second club to win the treble. We'll be telling you about their confirmed lineups at that time. They will be out already. We'll be telling you about who are going to be starting for either sides. Any late news, could Anthony Dos Santos finally sneak in and start a favored player by Eric Ten Hag, and all that news will be coming through. But for now, that was the breaking news. Subscribe to the channel and let us keep enjoying the hottest spot in the world of sport. I am Webb. See you later.